Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Alexiot's here. It's Monday morning, and normally I'll do a Monday memory, but there was only like one thing that happened on this date with the Raptors, and that was in the Tampa season. We played Memphis and we lost. It was, because the season started late. We have games that we played in the Tampa season that could be looked at as Monday memories, but most of them are losses. And I'm like, I don't want to go research this and do this for today. So I said, no Monday memory. We're going to start a new trend called the Monday moment. That's right. And we're looking to look at a moment, something that's happened. Well, we're going to have our moment today is from yesterday. Pascal Siakam at Miami at an F1 racing event, Formula One. Of course, because of his sponsorship with Red Bull, he is going to all kinds of events that Red Bull has sponsorship in, whether it's the Fluten or whatever they call it, the one where they push the crazy things off the ramp into the water. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. It's this crazy event they do, Red Bull does, and people make these big, huge flying machines and they push them fast down a ramp and then see how far they can fly into the water. He goes to stuff like that. He's been in Austria in the past year around certain football teams that are sponsored by Red Bull. And well, Red Bull has sponsorship in Formula One. So he's down there with the team for the Red Bulls racing team, hanging out with the F1 driver, hanging out, doing little interviews, talking about things like, oh, who has a busier schedule, the basketball player in the NBA or F1 driver, he's hanging out with big time celebrities down there. It's like all the pictures of Siakam at this event. He's smiling. He just looks like he's in his element. We've seen him at these events before. Last summer, he was at a F1 event in Montreal, celebrating with the Red Bull crew there also. But yesterday, it was cool. We saw a picture of him with one of the greatest tennis players of all time, Roger Federer. And very, very cool for Siakam to be around greatness like that. These are the kind of people you need to be around, Siakam. Get that greatness rubbed off on you, the excellence to the sport that you play, just like Roger Federer with tennis. Woo! And then it was so cool to see Siakam with Wyclef Jean, of all people. Of course, Wyclef from Haiti, important musical artist, also a great political activist in all kinds of different ways. Wyclef hanging out with Pascal yesterday also. So Pascal's living that life in Miami at the F1 race yesterday. I love seeing it, Siakam. You are awesome. You look happy. You look fresh, and you look like you've been down there having a good time. All right, let me check in with you guys in the comments real quick this morning. Cowboys in first this morning on Monday, and that's usually probably true. Cowboys first in on Monday morning. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Bam, bam, tap to you, Canadian Cowboy Bradley. Good to see you. Hope you have a good start to your week. And yeah, the weekend was pretty good. It was nice weather in Toronto for the most part, and I got to spend some time with Adriana, so I was very happy. Mike is here. Good to see Logical Raptors fanatic back from his sabbatical and back in full effect once again. We love to see you, Mike. Salute the real ones. Project Truth always. Red Bull has crazy comps. The skating water slide challenge is nuts. Yeah, I want to see this. Now, Siakam, you can't compete in any of these because we cannot risk any kind of injury. But yeah, I want to see some of these crazy Red Bull events. When Siakam was tied in with Red Bull, I was worried a little bit because it seemed like I hope this dude's not making this a part of his regular diet. Maybe a Red Bull like every once in a while, but not all the time, Siakam. That's not the way to go with your body. I know that you're an endorsement person for the product, and you can't say maybe that, yeah, I don't drink them hardly at all. You got to act like you do drink them. But I hope you aren't really drinking them like crazy. I know from my days of being a bar back in downtown Toronto in the bars here, I used to drink a lot of Red Bulls to keep myself going in the fast-paced environment of lugging kegs and cases of beer up and down stairs all over the place. I'd want to get that pep in my step. and I may slam like 3 Red Bulls in one night, and then I'm up till 5 in the morning. Yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that regularly. If you have to for work, then you do it for work, but otherwise you don't. Cool Cat is here. Good to see Cool Cat. Good morning, Raptor Free crew. F1 seems to be a little hobby of Pascal. He seems to be enjoying his Red Bull sponsorship. I see that Red Bull clothing line too. Alpha Tari. Yeah, Alpha Tari. That was the shirt that he was wearing. Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it makes sense. Siakam is a very like global kind of a worldly kind of dude, being from Cameroon. And because he speaks a few languages, he's a really good like advocate for them to be a spokesperson. He can go over to Austria and speak French. And people there speak French. So these are the kind of things that are just like a nice fit in a match. They could. I don't think that Red Bull would want like most of the U.S. players or maybe even Canadian players. But the fact that he's international and that he has a reach across the world and attractiveness across the world is a part of that partnership between Siakam and Red Bull. And yeah, it's awesome. I know it's so cool to see him in other environments enjoying himself. And he is such a classy dude. Like it's so cool to see him in some of the situations he gets into with the Red Bull sponsorship and the places that he travels. MSJ saying, sounds like a good life. Wow, good to see. Yeah, it's cool. I wonder about him getting in those cars. Some people are saying, try and get in that F1 car. I was like, he can't get in that car. He's like 6'9", y'all. Come on. It's really hard for him to get into one of those little tiny cars. And we don't want to even try. All right. Just let him watch and hang out. He doesn't need to be driving that car, but he might drive some of their cars when he can fit in them. It's like really those cars are so small. You see the guy who's with him in the picture, he looks like a little horse jockey that would be riding a horse. Those guys are always little tiny dudes and stuff. So, it's like Siakam getting into an F1 car. It's kind of like Shaq getting into a Pinto. Yeah, you ain't going. It's gonna be a tight fit. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam. Nice to see Pascal with my Haitian brother, Wyclef. Yes, Wyclef Jean. Yes, I love Wyclef. I love Wyclef. I always have. Always been a big fan of the Fugees and just him in general, just in the things that he does and stuff. I know that he's been such an important part of bringing awareness to the country of Haiti and different things. I know there's been different issues with his politics and things that have happened there, but for the most part, he brings more awareness to a place in the world that people just kind of forget about. And that's messed up because there have been major issues in Haiti in years recently. And, there needs to be some awareness and talking about the different issues going on there and how powers outside cause these issues. And, he's fighting that good fight on that side for the Haitians. And I appreciate Wyclef for that. Cool to hear, Fiercey. Let's see, your Haitian brother. Awesome. I love to hear that. Sending you positive vibes for the week, fam. I look forward more to the stream than the playoffs. The playoffs were crazy yesterday. Let's just go off of this real quick. A very close overtime win for the Sixers over the Celtics. They were winning the whole entire game, kicking ass, and then Boston started scrapping and coming back near the end, and they forced an overtime. And then it was a big shot by James that won the game. James Harden hitting a big shot once again to take it and even up the series 2-2. This is good drama for the series, and I want to see this. I love seeing the Celtics lose by 1. And now everybody's saying that Joe Mazzulla may be their downfall as their rookie coach this year, that they don't have a lot of confidence in him in late game situations. Some people are characterizing this series with the Sixers as Doc Rivers is out coaching Coach Joe. That's what I'm saying, y'all. Coaches do matter in certain situations, especially in the playoffs. And sometimes in the regular season, you can see certain things with them. But when the playoffs and certain things happen and they don't adjust and do things quickly and things, boom, yeah, that's how it goes. So Coach Joe is a little bit being criticized today for some of the things that happened yesterday and how the Celtics lost by 1 point. Woo, lots of big time scoring by big time names yesterday. Jokic getting over 50 points and a loss to the Suns later that night. That was a crazy, crazy game too. We saw big time output by Durant and Booker, both getting 36. And then, like I said, Jokic having a monster game. In fact, he's only the second center in the history of the NBA to score 50 points in the playoffs. And that first center is Wilt Chamberlain. So big time accomplishment by him. Now there was an ugly incident in the middle of the game where the ball rolled into the corner and a Phoenix Suns player was in the seats sitting on the fans. And the owner of the Suns had the ball in his hand. He had it hand holding it. And Jokic came over and took the ball from him. And he grabbed it. And then the owner got up on him and he pushed him away from him. Now, there's a lot of people going crazy about this whole incident. There's two camera angles. You got to watch it from both sides. If you watch it from the regular side that they're showing mostly, it'll look like Jokic was bad man for what he did. But if you watched it from the other side, you would see the aggression from Matt Ishiba going the other way. Now, this is the crazy thing. They didn't realize this was the owner of the Suns at this point. They thought it was just another regular fan. So he took the ball from him because it's like the player needs the ball. And I mean, the fan doesn't need to be holding the ball. I don't care if it's the owner of the Suns. He took the ball from him. He's holding it. And the dude came up on him. Like he literally came at him. And Jokic just kind of pushed him away. And he did flop. Now, they won't suspend him. Trust me, they will not suspend him. That would be really messed up. But in some ways in the rule book, it's saying that they have to suspend him. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with all this. This owner of the Suns is amazing. He has not owned this team for very long. He's owned it for like, 2 or 3 months now. And he's managed to do this. Acquire Kevin Durant. Change the cable system so that everybody gets the games for the Suns on free TV around the area in Phoenix and in Arizona. And now he's gotten into a physical altercation with Nikola Jokic in a game. This dude really cares. He really cares. And I like it. I love it. That guy is a cool dude. If we had more owners like Matt Ishiba and Mark Cuban, the NBA would be better for it. Trust me. These are people that really care and they're involved. And I love the whole move to make the games available on regular TV by antenna. Fantastic stuff. You are a badass, Matt Ishiba. That's a person of the people. And I appreciate you for it. But in this situation, I'm not on your side. Don't get after Nikola for this. This is silly. That was a dumb little shove. It's not even really that much into it. And anybody who thinks that he needs to get in more trouble, you're crazy. Just let him have what he had, and that's it. Let them play. We want to see the best player out there for the Nuggets so that they have the fair shot to play. And if y'all suspend him for one game just because of this stuff, that's going to be messed up. NBA. That'll be really messed up. So some cool games yesterday. Lots of action. Lots of excitement. Yeah. All right, let me see what else you guys are saying here. Cool Cat saying, I know Masai prevents him from doing all the high adrenaline activities of Red Bull. He can look on the side. Yeah, I mean, I've seen little clips of him kind of like messing around with Red Bull cars or something like that. But definitely, there's probably some clauses in some contracts for the Raptors about what kind of activities and things they should be doing and not doing to avoid any kind of crazy, messed up, stupid stuff happening. I'm sure there is. Yeah. Cool Cat saying, I think he drinks Red Bull for games, hence his energy level. Yikes. See, that could be part of the problem. I will say that if he's doing that, he needs to stop. Because I know very extensively, having experimented with Red Bull myself in many ways, you have a bad crash. And it's not usually like within 2 hours. I mean, it is usually within 2 hours. You could drink them you better be drinking them at halftime too then. But man, I don't like that because seriously, what if the Red Bull wears off in the last 2 minutes of the game? And that's part of the reason why he looks so tired and spent at the end. No, don't do this, Siakam. Please don't be drinking Red Bulls for the game to get up and stuff like that. That is not smart. That is not smart. If he is doing that, they need to talk to him. They seriously do. That's not good nutrition. And that caffeine and that drop by the end of the game, that would really explain why he's not as energetic right at the end of the game because he's crashed. I don't want him to do that. Monique saying, good morning, Lex and Freak. 10 to 15 coaches involved for us. Keep at it, Ron. All right. She's talking about the coaching search. We're going to talk about this real quick. We'll talk about it real quick. She's kind of knows already what I'm going to talk about this morning. It's really, Monique is on top of things just like me. All right. So yesterday it was announced that the Toronto Raptors are interviewing Nuggets assistant head coach David Adelman. David Adelman. He is the son of Rick Adelman, who was a coach in the NBA for many years. He was the coach of the Portland Trailblazers when I first started watching, and he was coaching the Trailblazers against the Pistons in the 89 finals. And he coached the Sacramento Kings for a long time also in the 2000s. Rick Adelman was a very good coach. I don't remember him ever winning a championship, but he did coach for a long time. He was a very, very good coach. His son is 41 years old. He has been an assistant coach in the NBA for 12 years now, mostly with Minnesota and Denver. He actually was an assistant coach under Flip Saunders and Sam Mitchell, also Frank Vogel and Michael Malone, as he is under him right now. He did not play in the NBA. He has no NBA experience as a player, and he has not won anything. Now, on Edelman's record, he has 12 years as an assistant coach. He's a young guy. He's in that category with Jordy Fernandez and Mitch Johnson and Chris Quinn, the guys that we're looking at for nominees like that. Now, to me, he's interesting to me because of this. He has the DNA from Rick Adelman. And Rick Adelman, listen, he's a very good coach. He really knew his stuff back in the day. And if this is a kid who grew up in his household and just soaked in Rick Adelman as a child and really went passionately in that direction, this guy could be very learned and really know his stuff. Adelman, the young Adelman. So, I'm not into getting one of these young hot shots, though. In some ways, you know what? I may say something right now that Monique's like, no, Lex, no. I am for Budenholzer now today. I went and looked more at Budenholzer's stuff yesterday, and I'm actually thinking I want to get Mike Budenholzer at this point. There's some things about Mike Budenholzer that is just so attractive. And one of them is his winning percentage. He's been a head coach in the NBA for 10 years. That is the most experienced head coaching out of all of our candidates that are on the spreadsheet. 10 years of head coaching. Now, with 10 years, you're going to see a variance of winning and losing. 5 years with the Atlanta Hawks, 5 years with the Milwaukee Bucks. But on the whole, it's pretty much all winning. As far as Budenholzer has a 60% win percentage, he wins 600% of his games. And I love that. In some ways, that is so attractive to me that this dude is the most experienced out of all our coaching candidates. That beats Kenny Atkinson. It's like if we're looking at Kenny Atkinson or Frank Vogel for experience, well, Budenholzer has the most real NBA head coach experience. And he's had the most success also in some ways. All 5 years in Atlanta, they were really good years in Atlanta when he coached there. All 5 years in Milwaukee, they did not miss the playoffs. They made the playoffs every single year. And his winning percentage is actually in the playoffs is actually above 500. He's won 56 games in the playoffs and only lost 48. So he has net more wins in the playoffs than losses. That doesn't sound bad to me. The more I think about it, I think the Bucks were just like hair trigger, knee-jerk reaction with firing him last week. That it is true that Giannis was hurt and that he had a tragedy and that they kind of caught him in an off place. And I don't think he's a bad coach. I think that, in fact, he could come to Toronto and give us the structure that we need. The other thing about Budenholzer that I absolutely I've remembered, but I didn't really realize how deep it was. You got to realize that he was with Coach Popovich for 30 years almost. That this dude started with Pop in 1993 as the video coordinator for 2 years. And then he became an assistant coach in the mid 90s when he first started coaching Popovich. And then boom, he was with him right up until he took the Atlanta job. And that means Coach Bud has so much experience, and he truly is the closest disciple to Popovich. Out of all the people that he's taught in his history of coaching Popovich, Budenholzer's number one, the top student. He's the one who's done the most success, and he's been around Popovich the longest. So he is like the most Popovich disciple of all the Popovich disciples. Forget about Udoka, forget about Becky Hammond, forget about those kind of people. As far as with Popovich, Budenholzer is the most like Popovich out of anyone in this league. And in some ways, that is so super attractive to me. The way that he's used the Bucks in the last couple years makes me think that he would be more equitable with minutes and the rotations and the time and how he brings guys off the bench. I would be okay with them hiring Budenholzer. I've changed my mind on this completely after all the work I did yesterday, looking at all this. That he would be great for us in some ways. He'd be fresh. He'd be somebody new, but in some ways, he'd be very, very capable. And listen, the stuff about making decisions in the playoffs and stuff like that, we'll come to that point when we come to that point, and we'll see how it goes with us if we do hire him. But I think that he's a little bit gotten tarnished with this idea that he didn't make adjustments fast enough in this series. It's understandable considering what all was going on in his head. The fact that the Milwaukee Bucks were a little bit like up and down because of Giannis coming in and out of the lineup and a lot of different stuff like that. Now he's gone all the way and won the championship with them, so he's proven that he can do that. So in some ways, it's like Milwaukee's knee-jerk reaction. Maybe we should capitalize on it because in some ways, Mike Budenholzer may be one of the top 6 or top 7 coaches in the entire league right now. And that may be very smart to just pick him up and get him. The results are on the paper. I don't care. Like, look, he can have Giannis. He can have who he had in Atlanta before. That's the thing. The guys he had in Atlanta in the first 5 years of his coaching career, they weren't, I mean, they were good, some of them, but for the most part, it's like there's kind of a ragtag, even kind of guys. And in some ways, that Atlanta team, if you remember, one year they 4 of them won like all what was it? What did they win? They won an award where they shared it between like 4 Atlanta Hawks while Budenholzer was a coach. So in some ways, that makes me feel like Toronto would be good because we have a very even lineup with like 4 or 5 guys that are very like even with their contributions. So he knows how to balance a lineup that's not really superstar studded with like 4 good stars instead of like one main guy that gets fed over and over again. So the more I think about it, the more I like Budenholzer. I really, really do. If they pick Budenholzer, I will not be upset. I really, really will not be. One of the things I thought about was, well, if we get Budenholzer, he knows all about Tim Duncan. I mean, he seriously was there the whole entire time the Spurs were winning championships, except for the last one with Kawhi. He was already in Atlanta by then, but he was there for the first 4 championships of the San Antonio Spurs. He was there for most of Tim Duncan's career, and that's attractive to me in major ways because in a lot of ways we made the comparison of Scotty Barnes to Tim Duncan. There's little tendencies and things that Mike Budenholzer may be able to teach Scotty Barnes, and he may become more like Tim Duncan with Budenholzer around. So I'm going to make a pitch and say I'm all for him now. Like in some ways, I said yesterday, no, I don't want to retread. But the more I thought about it, the more I really thought about it, he'd be kind of safe in some ways. And I think he would come in and do a really good job with our young guys. In fact, he might like the new challenge. He may be a little pissed off that he lost this job the way he did with Milwaukee. And he may have an axe to grind going the other way. We'll put him on Toronto. He has a good chance to get back at them real quick. And I'm telling you, our roster is attractive to coaches to coach. That's one of the best things about our team. People will want to come here and coach Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet, Jakob Poeltl. These are guys that are fun to coach. And, that may be part of the attractiveness to him also is like, I'd love to come and work with Scotty. I'd love to come and work with Pascal. I'd love to come and work with OG. That could be part of it too. So I'm doing a whole 180 on the Budenholzer thing, in my opinion. I said, nah, we don't really want him. But you know what? If we're lucky enough to land him, if that's the choice Masai makes, I'll be very happy. I've got it down to like 5 or 6 names that I really, really like at this point. My top 5 right now currently to take the Raptors head coaching job are Becky Hammon, Jerry Stackhouse, Mike Budenholzer, Sergio Scarioli, and Adrian Griffin. Now, Adrian Griffin, there's some signs that he's already out of consideration to be our next head coach. He's wiped his accounts of all ties to Toronto Raptors, and it could very well be just like Earl Watson. He's already been determined, and he's out of the search. So be ready for that. There are a couple of signs that seem like Adrian may be out of consideration already. So there's a little bit of a Raptors head coach vacancy report with 2 new names in the last couple of days added to my spreadsheet, Mike Budenholzer and David Edelman. Now, let me go ahead and share the link to it so you guys can go look at the spreadsheet once again. And let me just put it in the chat here. And you guys can look at all of it sorted out with the age and all that kind of stuff on there. It's just Budenholzer has such good credentials. Amazing credentials. He's a champion. He's won many times. He has 5 championship rings, y'all. 5. He coached under Popovich. I love that. That is such a huge plus. If you coached under Popovich, I give you a thing. And then his winning percentage and how long he coached as a head coach is just really, really, really good. So I'm flipping on my opinion on him, and I'm like, yeah, if we get Budenholzer, I'll be happy. It'd be cool. It'd be cool. All right, let's see. Fiercey is saying James Harden having a fan at the game was a significant moment. I must admit, Coach Mazzulla did not call 2 important timeouts towards the end, in my opinion. Woo, that's what I'm saying. The Celtics fans are not happy with him right now. I knew this kind of shit would happen to him at some point. You're a rookie head coach. This is not the same as Ime Udoka. People may have thought anybody could coach this team, but these are the moments where you see where the coach matters. Is this kind of stuff at this juncture of the postseason? Yeah, James Harden, very, very benevolent, amazing thing he did. There's a shooting victim from a mass shooting at Michigan State that happened a few months ago. And he's taken particular care and notice of one of the victims, this young man who's recovering, trying to come back from being shot. And he's brought him to the game last night and gave him his shoes. He signed them, and he's just saying, you know what? He told him afterwards. He sat down with. He's like, you know, we won this game by 1 point in overtime. You're good luck. I'm gonna have you come to the next game too. So the guy's like, okay, I'll come to the next game too. So James has got a new good luck person, and it's somebody who is involved in one of these horrible mass shootings that's been happening in the U.S. every single day, sometimes 2 or 3 a day right now. You guys are pathetic and disgusting. You can look and see what's happening in the shooting in Belgrade, where Luka Doncic is really upset. And first of all, he's going to pay for all the funerals for every victim there. And the government there immediately taking action and showing better leadership and talking to these people and saying, look, you better come and bring your unregistered guns now, because we're coming to get you, and there are going to be stiff penalties if you don't. So that country's being proactive without a crazy gun lobby that kind of stifles any kind of progress on controlling guns. Other countries have much more success dealing with stopping tragedies like school shootings and mass shootings at malls and stupid stuff like that. So, you know, the answers are there, US. It's just whether you want to go look at the answers and do them. That Australia, other countries have made changes and they've been very successful. So you guys want to keep stubbing your toe on the same damn post every single morning instead of changing things. You're going to do this over and over again. You're a third world country, United States. You are a third world country. You like to use that term to put down other places around the world. Well, you guys have become what you would put down other countries for. A lawless, violent country where people can't be safe on the streets. Are you proud of yourselves, United States? Are you proud of yourselves? Make the changes, make the adjustments. Stop fucking taking so much money from the gun lobby and stop listening to them be in your pockets, and go ahead and make the right, healthy, smart decisions for your children and your citizens so they can be outside safe in public places without having to look over their shoulders, worrying about an AR-15 coming around the corner and shooting everybody up. That's what I'm saying. The answers are there. It's just y'all choose not to look at them. You really, really don't. Yeah, but that was really cool to see James with that young fan, and I love seeing that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that endears you to James. I mean, in some ways, James fucked up going to Las Vegas, but then he came back and he had a huge game again last night. Really big part of why they beat the Celtics by 1 point in overtime. And it's funny because Doc Rivers had to remind him. He's like, look, this is what we're doing. Because they did some soul searching after the way they lost the last game. And they're really like, we got to get our act together because we can't be going out like this. And they made sure that's leadership and veteran leadership by people on the Sixers being like that. Trevor's here. Maple Leafs and then fans, they have some explaining to do. Ooh, I feel bad for Leafs Nation. Now you guys got your backs to the wall. You're in elimination and game going forward, and you got to win 4 straight to get past the Panthers since they've won the first 3 games of this series. I hate seeing this. But in some ways, we see once again that the Leafs and the Knicks are the same team in their respective sport leagues. That we saw the streets after the Knicks won their first round. We saw the streets when the Leafs won their first round in Toronto and New York. And that's what is going to get. You got your celebration. There you go. You go out in the street and celebrate like that after the first round, Leaf fans. Well, I guess that is a championship for you guys in some ways. And it may very well be the same for the New York Knicks also, and the way it goes down for them. I feel bad for them. I wanted them to go further for sure. And we'll see. Maybe they can do a miracle and win four straight against the Panthers and still win this round. But yeah, I hate seeing this, Trevor. I really do. I want the Leafs to win. I'm not against them. I'm not rooting against them. There was a time where I did used to root against them, but I don't anymore. I want them to be successful. Infamous is here. Good to see Infamous. Morning, freaks. The owner of the Suns did the worst flopping job I've ever seen. Laugh out loud. I know. Wasn't that ridiculous? I mean, listen, if he's really vociferous in the press saying, oh, he needs to suspend him, I'm like, dude, just stop. You know, it's not good for the game if you take Jokic out of this series for a dumb thing like that. You know, some of the suspensions already are kind of dumb. You know, the Draymond Green thing, I kind of understand, but still suspensions in general shouldn't be given out real easily. They should be for really serious shit. And a lot of the stuff that's happening in the NBA with flopping and different things like that isn't that serious. There's much worse things going on in the games that they don't even bat an eye at than some of the stuff that they're getting mad at people for. So yeah, it was a really bad flop job, wasn't it, Infamous? If you see it from the other angle, you can see exactly why. Fiercely saying, I love the way Jokic answered the post-game presser, avoiding the bait and reiterating, if you're on the court, you are a fan. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, he could be feeling like because he owns the Phoenix Suns, oh, I can just grab the ball and hold it. Dude, don't hold the ball. Like, seriously, the player's coming to retrieve the ball from you to give it back to the referee to continue the game. And this is normal behavior from a player. Now, the problem here might be Matasheba is that you're not giving him the ball. You're holding it. And he's like here to wrench it out of your hands. Because look, you don't have no point to have that ball. Give the ball to the player or give it to the ref. And then boom, you won't have any of these problems. And then the second thing you did wrong was you came up on him afterwards. Like you were trying to come get the ball back from him. You can't do that. Like if any other fan in the arena tried to come at a player after they took the ball from them and tried to get the ball back, you would get pushed back. That's just a natural motion. And he didn't do it with any kind of strength or intent to hurt him. It's just like, get off me, bro. Get off me, bro. And, you know, you coming up, NBA players don't want to be encroached on by fans or owners of the other team. So it's a natural reaction to be like, get off me, bro. And it's so dumb. And he's really smart with how he handled it afterwards. And he's like, I don't know who that guy was. He's just a fan to me. Oh, he's the owner? I don't give a shit. That's what the coach of the Nuggets said. I don't give a shit if that's the owner. We didn't know that was the owner. He just was some fan to us. You know, people are trying to compare this to Malice in the Palace. Come, give me a break. Give me a break. First of all, he did not go into the stand. Second of all, there was no punch thrown. There's no push in the face. So this is nowhere near like the Mouse in the Palace. This was on the floor, and the fan in some ways was on the court where they shouldn't have been. Let's see. All right, Shere Khan's here. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. The second round of the playoffs looking good. Hang on. Not sure how Miami series is going to turn out. Masai did the right thing by not making panic moves at the deadline. 29 teams will make major changes. We'll see how much the change is this summer. It looks like there will be some good shuffling around for sure. It seems like it. There's a lot of unrest. There's a lot of teams that aren't happy with things. So maybe they will be making big changes. Trevor's saying James Harden had to put on the kid last night. I'm barely got true no beat in the Boston game. They're not going to win the series. Listen, if Sixers can beat the Celtics and put them out, woohoo! I'm wearing that Sixers garb on this channel. My bounty stands. Whoever can take out the Celtics out of the playoffs, I will wear your gear for your team because that's the only team I don't want to win for sure is the Celtics. I don't really want LeBron to win either, the Lakers. But those are the two teams on both sides I do not want to win this year. For sure. Neither of those two. No. Other teams I can deal with to a degree. Even the Warriors. Ugh. But James Harden is cool that he's being so benevolent to that young person having to deal with things from that shooting. Let's see. Cool Cat saying, talk about an owner dedicated to his team to ensure wins. More eyeballs means more money. Laugh out loud. In some ways, the big corporations don't like this idea because, you're putting the product for free out on TV on free television. I wish they would do this for us up here. They really, really should, at least in the Toronto area or something, but they never will. It really is a big part of how they make their money. The cable packages and making people pay cable bills and stuff like that. Ah, man. Yeah, but I really like this guy, but I didn't like what he did last night. I felt like that, you get involved in the game like that, Matasheba. That's not good. Don't do that. And don't act like you're a victim in what happened last night. You very much interjected yourself into the action on the court, and you didn't have to do that. You really didn't. Let's see. Mike saying parity is the league. Parity is the league is higher. Parity in the league is higher and will create openings for other GMs to make moves that they might not need to do, opening the chance for Masai. You keep putting is in. You're not meaning is. The chance for Masai to score a great deal. Yeah, that's what he's saying. Like he wants to be an opportunist this summer and see how things kind of go with people being not happy, people maybe wanting to leave, even big, huge names. And he wants to be an opportunist. He wants to be ready to strike the deal when the deal may come up. And I love that thing about Masai. It's like that's the very smart bargaining way to do it. Go and see when people are in trouble, get some deals off of them when they're in trouble. Then sometimes you can really get something good when they're in a bad place. MSJ saying they left Harden wide open off a double team, but come on, the Celtics just aren't mentally tough enough. Like the Leafs and the Suns owner holding the ball. Why? Laugh out loud. He flopped too. Oh, the drama. The NBA playoffs. It's fantastic. All the drama, all the silliness, the things that we get to talk about the next day, the talking heads on ESPN. No games tonight, y'all. So there's no ref report. Although I am going to do a ref report real quick. I said this weekend that the NBA refs were going to be doing a viewing party for the Celtics Sixers game yesterday. Well, I didn't realize what that meant. Basically, it just meant they're going to live tweet during the whole entire game and explain different calls as the game went on. It was quite hilarious what happened with this whole experiment with the NBA refs, the viewing party. Very, very interesting to see them try to interact with mostly negative attacking comments from people on all their posts. I could maybe count like maybe a half dozen. They're saying the referees do such a good job. And the rest of it is all like, you guys are so rigged. Pictures of Tim Donaghy talking about you guys hate the Warriors. You're giving so many free throws to the Lakers. Just people going off on them in the comment section. I don't know if they realize what a dumpster fire this idea would be, is to live tweet during the game and try and explain positions and rules and things that happen in the game. It's just giving an opportunity for everybody to come in there and dump all over them and just say all kinds of crap about how crooked and messed up they are. It's overwhelmingly the noise in the comment section from the NBA referees official Twitter account from yesterday is all like, you guys suck. You're crooked. You suck. Why haven't you fired this coach yet? I mean, why haven't you fired this referee yet for being crooked? It was really funny, actually. And at some points, they did try and interact with them a little bit with like some of the stuff. Like they said, we know there will always be scrutiny and differing opinions on what is very subjective and difficult game to referee. There will never be a perfectly officiated game, but our goal every night is to be excellent. Today's crew met that expectation. Overall, that was a very accurately called and well officiated game. Thanks for joining us, our ref watch party. And then you're saying, why do you keep rewarding Smart for flopping? Accurately called and officiated. You were horrible all day for the whole game. Hilarious PR misstep for the official NBA refs and their union. Impeccable timing, guys. Impeccable. Y'all were trash. Completely inconsistent. Yes, Laker fanboys. You literally swallowed your whistle on the obvious push-off because Maxey chose to play ethical and didn't flop. It's pathetic. It is shameful. The flop is rewarded over good defense. Try to be excellent for the Warriors-Lakers series. Season ticket holders are watching, and we're not into paying for a WWE-like scripted fake mess. See, that's the kind of stuff they're dealing with on there, and it's kind of hilarious. In some ways, I feel bad for the referees. There's a lot of phenomena in lower levels of sports where officials are getting berated by fans and parents and people, and they're quitting. And they don't want to do it anymore. In fact, they have a shortage of officials that are willing to come to games and do games anymore, that it's becoming a problem nationwide. And that sucks. In some ways, that's sad. We do need to respect the officials on different levels. Some people are acting towards like minor league lower league, little league kind of officials like they're in the NBA, and really going way out of pocket with somebody like, you got to keep things in consideration, y'all. Listen, I know you have a child or somebody who's competing in this sport, but this person that's officiating these events is probably not getting paid hardly anything but dirt. And they're doing it partly because they enjoy being official and they want to try and do a good job. And sometimes people are so cruel and so awful and feel like they just have license to yell at a referee in like a smaller league where there's like 9-year-old kids playing. Just chill out. Seriously. So what they're going to do is they're going to make parents that cause problems with the officials have to come and official the game themselves so they can see it from the other side and see just how difficult it is. So they're saying that, all right, if a parent comes at them and is out of pocket with how they attack them or yell at them or something like that, they can't come to the game again until they go and officiate a game themselves. Isn't that a crazy idea? I think it's really smart. And it really would give people the other perspective of seeing what it is like to be on the official side. Now, I don't want to treat the NBA refs the same way as a Joe Nobody who's in like the middle of nowhere officiating a 12-year-old kid's basketball game. They need, we should be nice to all officials, but the NBA refs, in some ways, they're at the highest point in the pinnacle of things. And just like the NBA players who have to go through a lot of scrutiny and public scrutiny and, obsession about how they're doing their job, these guys have to too, because they're at the top of their game and they're in the limelight. They're in the forefront with people in their, we know who they are: Scott Foster, Ed Malloy. So in some ways, their scrutiny is different. You shouldn't be scrutinizing lower level referees like you scrutinize the NBA. I'm sorry. They just don't get paid enough for you to do that to them. And if you are treating people horribly on lower levels like that, instead of just like a human and talking to them, you can get a lot across without having to yell and dehumanize someone. So let's just think about that and keep yourself in check. Because sometimes these people are volunteering and not even getting paid when they come and officiate your games. And without the official, well, can you have the games? So seriously, parents and people that go to lower level games with kids and stuff like that, stop going after the refs. It really doesn't help anything. And if you think you're funny or you're doing anything, you're just annoying. You're just annoying. And the refs are humans too. I'll never forget the day that I was coaching a game at Godby Gym in Tallahassee in our men's league. And somebody came into the gym and told the referee in the middle of the game that their child had died in a car accident just an hour before, right in the middle of our game. They had to stop it, and the ref had to leave and ran out of the arena, the gym, in tears because their child had just died in a car wreck, and they just gotten the news of it in the middle of our game. So, these people are human too, and we should respect and treat officials nicely. Now, I know I'm very tough on them at the NBA level, but I would not do that to people that are taking their time to do it for younger, lower levels. And people need to check themselves on that. Oh my gosh. All right, let's see. No, 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 no. Trevor's saying, man, it's crazy in the NBA and watching Suns in Denver. Its owners allowed to do this. Why are you holding on the ball, stopping the momentum? Yeah, you shouldn't have interjected yourself. If that had been a regular fan, they would have just given him the ball. It's like, here you go, Jokic, you're 7 foot. I'm not messing with you. Here you go. No, I feel like he did that on purpose. He's trying to show some fight. Oh, Jokic, no, that's my ball. Give him back. No, dude, you're not playing. You're the owner. Just sit at the side, please. Monique saying, so news and notes for everyone. Dylan Harper is 17 and should be entering the 2025 NBA draft. Yes. All right. Let's do an Instagram check with the Raptors real quick. Ron Harper Jr. on Instagram the last couple of days, working really, really hard. And good to see him. He has a vintage Raptors shirt on it with Kyle Lowry and a bunch of old Raptors on it. I love seeing him representing our team in the offseason in his workouts. Also, he is in Toronto, guys. He posted last night a picture of him getting his hair cut by JBH Fresh, who does a lot of the Raptors hair. So it looks like Ron is actually here in the 416 right now, working at OVO and getting his workouts here in Toronto. Meanwhile, as I said, Scotty's been in Tallahassee this weekend, working out with the Seminoles and with the staff down in at Florida State. And that's cool. I love seeing Scotty in the gym, being a gym rat, hopefully getting some good advice from Terrence Mann and other people around them down there. That is so cool and so awesome. Once again, Siakam at F1 this weekend. I love the pictures of him with Federer and Wyclef. Fantastic stuff. Siakam, you the man. So happy to see you living your best life down south in Miami. Yeah, well, let's see what happens with Ron's brother. I don't know if he's coming into the draft this year. It seems too young. Yeah, 2025 sounds about right. That would be 2 years from now. Infamous is saying winning percentage is good, but players and talent has to be looked at as well. Phil Jackson had a high percentage, but he coached MJ. Can't just look at win percentage. Need a coach that's flexible. Now, I'll get behind that argument for his Bucks section of his career, but the Atlanta section of his career, in some ways, you can't really say he had like an MJ or anybody like that level. Trae Young hadn't showed up there really yet. And they were kind of, you can remember that was the team when they had like Kyle Korver, Al Horford, DeAndre, the guy who came and played for us, DeAndre, why do I forget his name? You know who I'm talking about. They had a whole bunch of mid-level guys and no real superstar, and he still coached them to a lot of wins. I mean, the record with them. All right, he was 38-44 in his first year and fourth, lost in the first round. He was a 46% win percentage, but the next year they turned it around, won 60 games, 73% win percentage, lost in the conference finals. Then the third year he was in Atlanta, 48-34, 56% win percentage. Got pretty far, lost in the conference semifinals, lost in the second round. And then the Atlanta got to 43-39. In his last year, they didn't have the good year. That was the only year that they didn't really have a good year. I'm just saying that he didn't have a superstar-laden team in Atlanta, and he still made the playoffs with them 4 out of the 5 years he was there. So that's pretty good. It's pretty good. I would be really curious to see this structure he would make for the team as far as like how he'd use Scotty and Pascal and Fred, and how it would be different from Nick. I would want to see how he would do this. I don't know. I'm okay with him at this point. I'm not saying no to Budenholzer at this point. He has a green light from me. And, we'll see. I think he's one of the top candidates. Seriously, top 3 candidates with Becky and Jerry. Those are the top three for me is at this point. MSJ saying Coach Bud is a safe pick. We could have a decent regular season. And after the season, I would go for that. Maybe 48 wins, second round exit. We'd still be watching Raptors ball right now. Decent deal. Yeah. And listen, everybody who thinks, oh, you're only going to go out in the first round. Oh, you're not going to get anywhere in the playoffs. We don't know that. We don't know that. People that are saying like Adoka saying, oh, they're going to be a first round exit. There'll be a 5th or 6th seed and there'll be a first round exit. The way that this playoffs going right now, it doesn't matter what seed you are. You could be the Miami Heat and you could run right on through to the finals. If you're the right kind of team, you get the right matchups and you take advantage of it in the veteran kind of way like the Miami Heat have. I don't care what seed you are. You could go all the way to the finals. This is the way it is. This is the new NBA. It's parity. And, listen, I think Bud is a safe pick too, MSJ. I think that his winning percentage, his track record for success is very, very good. And I just love Popovich. The more we can have a more of like a Popovich kind of coach, the better. Trust me. Mike saying 2015 Hawks was like Carroll. That's right, DeAndre Carroll, who we had for a little bit. Carroll, Korver, etc. Yeah, who was it? Al Horford. It was like Al Horford, Kyle Korver, DeAndre Carroll. Really like mid-level guys, and they did really, really well. They were so good, and in some ways, our team right now is very much like that Hawks team. It's like we have like 4 or 5 really, really good starters, and they're already kind of equal contributions in some ways. So, G saying Ron Harper with an awesome Toronto T-shirt. Is he in Toronto? I think he is. I mean, he may have posted something to just help the barber here in town. But he posted Toronto, Ontario last night. So I think he is. The weather's nice. It makes sense. Come back to Toronto and work with our people here at OVO. Come in and touch base. I know he went back and hung out at Rutgers for a while already this summer. He's got, these guys go and check out their old haunts and hang out at old high schools and, universities that they played at. And then, they probably circle back and come back to Toronto at some point. So, Yeah, I think he is here. Shir Khan saying Bud did a real good job with limiting starting minutes and bench utilization. He will definitely give us a good regular season. Once in the playoffs, we can unlock Barnes and unleash the Scottiness. I just really like this idea of him working with Scotty. For some reason, the knowledge of he has from working with Popovich and Duncan from all the 2000s is just really special. And like, if he can directly take any of that kind of stuff and help Scotty become more like Tim Duncan and go more in that direction, this is a good thing. Seriously, Scotty can get all the offensive stuff, but if he really learns how to play team defense like Duncan used to, and his footwork and his positioning for, like, different things like just being a shot blocker or just kind of an annoying defender around there, Scotty has the frame to do this stuff. And he has the kind of size and agility and weight like Duncan did to do some of the stuff that Duncan used to do. I find my comparison of Tim Duncan really mystified people when we first drafted him, but they don't realize what I see in Scott besides the offensive stuff on the defensive end that can be very Duncan-esque. Now, he's not going to be exactly Tim Duncan, but he could be more like Tim Duncan than most players in the NBA if he wants to be, and he decides to work on that side of his game. And I think that having Coach Budenholzer, who was around Tim Duncan for most of his NBA career, is smart just from that. So it'd be interesting to see. Let's see. Top of Top is here. Good to see Top of Top. I don't want anyone that was part of the current coaching group to be the head coach. Yeah, I think I can get behind that at this point. The stank from this past year in certain ways is just no good. We're seeing signals, like I said, that Earl and Adrian are not being considered any longer, that their stuff is wiped on their social medias. Dr. Adrian Griffin actually has something on his Instagram saying, I am available for inquiries. Call me. If you want me, I'm available for a job, is what it kind of says on his Instagram at this point. And he doesn't have any connections to the Raptors on there at this point. Meanwhile, I can go look at Rico Hines. I'm pretty sure Rico still has his up saying that he is working for the Raptors, but I don't see it on Adrian's or Earl's anymore. So, yeah, let me see. Rico saying Toronto Raptors assistant coach, player development. Yep, his still says it. Earl's does not, and Adrian's does not, just so y'all know. All right, let's keep going with the comments. MSJ saying gun ownership in the USA comes down to the fact. So it seems that the population is far more immature and mentally ill to own guns outright. This isn't 1776, and in 2023, too many people are sick-minded. Well, this is, this I could get really into social scientist kind of stuff here, MSJ, and this is a great point. Listen, we just went through a pandemic, and the pandemic caused mental illness. The pandemic caused people to have problems because it's traumatic. And, going in the house and staying in there, and then you have all the problems with the media bombarding us with things like they really scare people about trans. The way that the right pumps up that there's crime problems everywhere makes people feel like they have to arm themselves and makes them a little more hair trigger. And then you have stupid things like people shooting people through doors or shooting at people in their driveway and killing people, like, and really messed up. Like, you should have just thought about it or not been so afraid. It really is a fear thing. And that Fox News and other powers out there prey on this, and they get people so scared and riled up in ways that they really don't need to. In fact, this happens here in Toronto right now, and it's part of the mayoral race. There's a certain people are out there that really believe Toronto is more and more unsafe, and they're scared of it. And sure, there are incidents, but they get highlighted, like on the TTC, different episodes of violence around the city. And these are all symptoms of social problems and problems, economic problems in the city. People cannot make money. People are having trouble making their bills. There's a lot of economic stress, and it can manifest in extra violence around the city that people don't realize that that's what it stems from. It stems from people not economically being okay. That's when violence and things like that happen. Well, the part of the cycle is they say, okay, well, all this crime's so bad. We need more police. We need more this. We need more defense. And that's actually not what you need. You need more help for people to be okay financially and take care of. And that's why UBI would fix a lot of the crime problems everywhere. They would fix the problems in the States. They won't do it ever there, but we could do it here. And we could see a very dramatic decrease in crime if there is universal basic income. So, because once you meet the needs of food and a shelter for a human being, sometimes they don't get too out of pocket. They're fine, they're content, and they don't do crazy shit. Now, when you have people under stress financially, they go a little crazy in their head and then they'd be more likely to do stuff. Now, because we're on this side of the border and guns aren't as prevalent, we don't see so many bad outcomes like this. But don't fall for this boogeyman fearmonger saying that, oh, it's so crime ridden. We need more police. We need more money for spending on the cops. That's not actually true. We need less money spent on the cops and to spend more money on preventative things like education and helping people take care of themselves with a social safety net so that they don't get to the point where they're even causing the crime in the first place. When people in society are taken care of, they don't act out. Trust me. And that's part of the problem. People are on the brink in their lives and financial reasons and all kinds of reasons mentally. And then they do stupid, crazy, psychopathic breaks from reality and do stupid shit. So that's really a big nutshell of the whole thing. So don't buy into the boogeyman that criminals are coming to get you and you need to go buy guns. And if somebody comes to your door, you need to shoot them. That's what they want you to think so that they can sell more guns and provide more funding for police departments because there's, these people aren't going to stop you from, things that happen like in Dallas in that mall. Did anybody stop that guy in Dallas this weekend? No, he did not. No, they didn't. And they're going to say, oh, there was a safe zone. There are no guns there. No, that's not what it is. The police cannot be everywhere at every point in every place. You need to stop the problem before it even starts. You can't stop the problem once it started. And it means going back to the drawing board and taking care of people in the first place. That will solve these problems. Now, you take the guns out of the picture more and more, that's better too. But you keep feeding guns to people and selling more and more and more and more guns, more and more deaths, more and more shootings. The United States, bam, right there. So even in this mayoral election this summer here in Toronto, when they bring this like thing about crime and being tough on crime, don't listen to this bullshit. Because in some ways, listen, do you feel any more or less safe in your life right now in Toronto? Even with the increases in some incidents here and there on TTC in different places and stuff like that, maybe you're a little unsafe. You feel like it on TTC and stuff. But for the most part, people aren't out there trying to target and hurt you and come and mess with you in the city of Toronto, unless you're already involved in bad shit. And they may be coming to get you then because you're already in the whole life, in the gang life. But otherwise, most normal, average Torontonians should feel pretty safe and shouldn't fall for the boogeyman of crime that we should all be worried about around the city. This is a very safe city still. And they will use this in this kind of way to justify a really inflated police budget that's not necessary. In fact, when you give so much money to the police department, they start buying tanks. Who the fuck needs a tank in a police department? When you have a tank in your police department, that will only be used against the people en masse and against the people. And that's not what the police are here for. They're here to serve and protect. So some of the little toys the police buy, I don't like either, because they start signifying that they could become an army against its own people at some point. So we need to think about all these kind of things when we're thinking about crime and shootings and things that are happening. Thank God we live in Canada. Let's just say that. Thank God we live in Canada. Mike's saying it's harder to argue against suspension if a player has a history of physical stuff. Draymond has a very long history there, and Jokic has a nasty side to the Morris push and etc. Yeah, I think that they'll take this into consideration. Is the resume of the players. Draymond, definitely that came into factor. Joe Dumars said that I suspended him partly for his body of work over his whole entire career. Now, other than that shoving incident with the Morris brother, I know that Jokic has done dirty stuff, but does he really have this kind of mentality or reputation like Draymond does? I don't think so. We'll have to see how this goes. In some ways, Nuggets fans will be very pissed off if Jokic is suspended for a game next game. We'll have to see. Wayne's here. Good to see Wayne Strainer. Problem with the Sixers is their MVP is an endurance to them being really good, is a hindrance to them being really good. James and Maxey run the teams way better, but they defer to the big flopper in order to be good teammates. Yeah, I don't think that this is untrue. In some ways, James and Maxey, it's just a weird place where the NBA is, and Embiid specifically as an individual. He is the MVP. He is one of the most dominant players in the league, but he's also a hindrance. He very much can be a negative for them in really weird ways. Cool Cat saying, I was listening to Howard Beck on a podcast, Locked on Raptors. He created a case for trading Pascal due to league parity, case for trading Fred, Gary Trent Jr., middling team to get an edge. Interesting. I have not listened to Locked On Raptors, but Locked On Raptors is pretty good. Sean Woodley, he's got that Seth MacFarlane voice. He sounds like he could do Family Guy. Like he could be the voices of Brian and Stewie. Oh, hey, what are you doing there, Peter? Oh, nothing there, Brian. What are you doing here? I just came to see what you're doing, Peter. Oh, okay, Brian. Oh, it was a Family Guy this morning. But yeah, he always has good guests and stuff. I'm locked on Raptors too. In fact, I may be a little bit more even locked on Raptors. I'm like, but yeah, okay. So they were putting a point to trade Pascal because of the parity in the league. Interesting. Infamous saying there are two players I would be looking at: DeAndre, the Sun center, and the backup point guard of the Grizzlies. Can't remember his name. What is his name? Chioza? No, not Chioza. I think I know who you're talking about. I don't want either one of those guys. Maybe the backup point guard for the Grizzlies. You're talking about Dylan Brooks. You're not. No. I don't want Ayton. We don't need Ayton. We got Pirtle. Pirtle is our guy. And Ayton is. There's a lot of questioning Ayton's heart and where he is as an NBA player, if he is really into being an NBA player. So I'm not as into DeAndre Ayton at this point. I was kind of into him last summer, but at this point, I'm not at this point at all. The way he's disappearing in the playoffs right now, we don't need somebody like that on our team. When the going gets tough, the tough get going, Billy Ocean. And the going's getting tough, and he's just getting going. He's not even coming around. Mike's saying hockey parents were versus the refs after the game is nuts. I've seen things. That's what I'm saying. Who's going to want to get into officiating if their life is just grief? It's always been a little bit like this, but in some ways, people are taking it a little bit even further. In some cases, there's bad violence and really bad stuff happening in these kind of games that has no place in these kind of things. Are we declining as a civilization? Are we going back to caveman days? Are we becoming less and less civilized, Charles Barkley? Anything less would be uncivilized. Charles Barkley, Old Spice. That's right. We need to keep progressing and becoming more mature as a humanity instead of regressing to caveman. Unga bunga, I'm going to smash you in the face because you didn't call this call in my child's basketball game. None of this shit. What is wrong with y'all? Seriously, check yourself. And, these people are humans. Stop coming at them like that. Monique saying Raptors will win more than the Leafs. I said this before. Well, they got some work to do. That's for sure. The Leafs have quite a few Stanley Cups from way, 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 way back. But we've got one, and we're on our way. We're going to start. We go. But I don't know if maybe we won't ever catch the Leafs. Who knows? But either way, I'd like to see that someday. If it never happens, well, they've had a good, 70, 80-year lead on us to try and get them. So it's within reason. We understand why. They're coming to get Jokic. Wow! All right, Wayne's saying blasphemy. I'm not cheering for Celtics, but I admire their style of play and their talent execution. I prefer a Western team to win the championship, but we have to admit the Celtics play good ball. Yeah, I like the Celtics. Seriously, I'm envious of them. I wish I didn't like things that are happening there. I wish they just suck like before, and I'd be like, yeah, the Celtics suck. But no, they're good, and they have a really good system, and they have really good players that fit together in certain ways. And I mean, I can be real about that. I mean, just because I don't like them and I don't want them to win, I have to respect that. Yeah, this was a good team. It's a very good team, and they're doing a good job for certain things. But I'm with you too. I'd rather the West win. I definitely rather the West win, other than LeBron. Like if it was LeBron versus Kyle, I'd be going for Miami. Oh yeah. If it was Philadelphia versus LeBron, I'd be going for Philadelphia. Yeah. If it was New York versus LeBron, I would be going for New York. Now, if it's the Celtics versus LeBron, I will be going for LeBron. But otherwise, nah. And I'd be going for the Phoenix Suns or the Denver Nuggets over the Golden State Warriors also. So it's kind of like Celtics and Lakers, Warriors at the bottom. And then maybe Sixers after that. And then everybody else I may root for more, like New York, Miami, Denver, and Phoenix. Let's see. Lex, is that a switch by you on Bud? My point is that Bud is a winning coach in his career. Does he fit? I don't think so, but he's a successful coach. And he deserves a chance to be our coach. Open minds. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I went and looked at more facts, looked at more things. And, I got more reacquainted with his resume and the things about him. And I was like, you know what? Actually, he would work. He really would work. I'm not worried about him fitting in. He's a coach who's been around the NBA for 30 years, and he really knows personalities. He knows NBA teams, and he knows how to run them. And he's been around so many different players. He has the respect in the league as far as like with the refs and different things. So he checks off those boxes. He has winning in his career and like very much winning for the most part, like not much losing at all. So yeah, I'm all about it. Like if this is who they decide, I'll be very happy and endorse it. If they pick Stackhouse, I'll be very happy and endorse it. If they pick Hammond, I'll be very happy and endorse it. So these are my top three picks at this point: is Becky, Bud, or Stack, and one of those three, Masai. If you can land any of those three and somehow, some way, do it. Then just do it. Because I mean, seriously, Budenholzer has so much experience coaching the NBA. It'd be dumb not to seriously consider him. And I know that they considered him when we hired Nurse. So he's going to come back around and talk to us again. He's a professional, and honestly, he's a competitor. If he just got fired by the Bucks and he feels bad, his brother just died and he's upset about getting fired from this job. He doesn't feel like it was fair that he lost this job after winning a championship for them 2 years ago. Look out. It could very well be this coach swap between Nurse and Budenholzer. And they have like kind of they could be kind of like a grudge match, partly because it's like Nurse versus the Raptors and Mike Budenholzer versus the Bucks. That could be very interesting and entertaining to see this flip on with this. So it could be very interesting. Monique saying, how amped is everyone for the WNBA Toronto game? I know Lex will recap the game the day after. I should really consider trying to go to the game. I don't know, is it sold out? I don't know if I can get in there at this point because I know those tickets sold real quick. I could go talk to Marco. Marco will get me in there if I want to go to the WNBA game. So maybe I will. Maybe I will go down there and be a part of history, the first WNBA game in Toronto. That would be smart. Maybe I should do that, Monique. I can get tickets to go to the event if I want to on the day of. I don't care if it's sold out. I know how to get in there. Let's see. Mike's saying, I think Bud can build up defined roles for players and make a system that can take the first seed and win a series. I think the youth on our team really needs that at the moment. I would be fine with Bud. Yeah, I can see that. Oh, is his Instagram private now? You're saying Adrian Griffin? This is weird because honestly, I saw that he was like out yesterday. We could see it. Yeah, he's private at this point. That actually just happened from last night. I'm not gonna lie, Cool Cat. I looked at his Instagram and it was wide open yesterday. I could see all his pictures and I could see all this stuff, and now it's private. You can't see his pictures at all. See, these are telltale signs of things. Like even if we don't know or we hear anything from Masai, we can monitor these kind of things, and they kind of tell you what's going on. So Adrian Griffith's Instagram is private as of today, this morning, because it wasn't last night when I looked at it. It really wasn't. Seriously. Let's see. Leslie's here. Good to see Leslie Hart, great Raptor freak. Hello, freaks. The NBA is wide open right now. There are no clear dominant team. Superstars are getting together. Is over. I hate to say it, but the Celtics look like the strongest team. Well, hopefully they won't survive. Only the strong survive. Well, hopefully Philly can figure it out and put them out. If not them, hopefully somebody will beat them in the Eastern Conference. Miami Heat, probably. So we'll have to see. I don't want the Celtics to win. I just don't want them to win. David's here. Good to see David Saborin. Should be shooting free throws. He wants all the Raptors to go shoot free throws like crazy right now. Okay, that would be good. Randolph Phillips is saying, blessings, beloved Raptor freaks, most informative gang. I believe that at any moment now, we would hear who our new head coach will be. It could be. I don't know. That'd be really weird if we like announced today that we got Coach Budenholzer as our coach, and that then they turn around and say they got Nurse as their coach. It could be really it could actually happen. Some people have said this. Eric Smith, Aaron Rose, they said they very much could just switch coaches, and it wouldn't be a huge big deal. It'd be really weird though. It'd be very weird. I don't know if we'll hear it today, but hopefully we will hear it at some point because I want to know. I don't want to keep speculating. I want to know who our coach is going to be, Messiah. I know you guys are going to take your time and get it right. And you got more people to interview probably. Infamous is saying, I was having a conversation about tell me what you think. Buying low on Ben Simmons. I just personally, he's on my list that I don't ever want him to come play here. In some ways, he's like, can you trust him? Like seriously, has how much has he played in the last 2 years? Like seriously, how much has he played? In some ways, he's very Kawhi like, and I'm just like, who's talking about getting him is the Spurs. The Spurs have a deal put together with Brooklyn that they would try and acquire him and bring him to San Antonio. I'm not about this. And maybe Popovich would be good for him, but I don't think we should bring him to Toronto. If anything, he could be bad influence on certain people. I know Scotty likes him. Scotty talked a lot. He said some things about Ben Simmons last summer. He's like, I don't understand why everybody doesn't like him. I think he's really good. I've seen him play up close, and he's a really good player, y'all. And I don't understand all the hate towards Ben Simmons. That's Scotty, straight out of his mouth on Twitch last summer. So, I mean, I'm not for it. I don't want his goofy ass sitting on our bench in weird clothes every game, just sitting there like aloof goof, just like, no, I'm here. I'm in the NBA. No, I don't want that. So in some ways, I'm a hard pass. No, thank you. Mike saying, infamous. Not gonna lie, I was wondering about that. I know Masai's trying to get Simmons cheap. Could happen now. I haven't checked his contract, but it could be ending soon. No, this dude has figured out he can get paid without playing. And that means he may not want to play. When we talk about how NBA players may not love the game or be as passionate about playing all the time, he's the epitome of this in some ways. He could have been playing at certain times. We understand he has mental health issues at some point, different things, but still within reason, like seriously, he's just going to let us down. We don't want him to come here. Trust me. He's just going to let us down. You can ask Brooklyn. You can ask Philadelphia. He's just going to let us down. You want to get him to get another Atlantic Division team that he lets down, come to Toronto and have three of them, because that's probably what will happen. Seriously, I don't think we'll get much out of him, and I'm not about that. Infamous is saying, Logic, I think we should kick the tires on Ben Simmons. All right, you guys, you go ahead if you guys think that. For me, I'm a hard no. But I can see where you guys think it might be good, but I don't understand him. I don't understand why he isn't better, why he can't shoot better, and why he doesn't play. Isaac saying Marco, yes, Marco. Leslie saying, Lex, social media use negatively might be our demise. The difficult thing is to cut yourself off of social if it's affecting your mood in a bad way. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what these NBA players are having to do. They really regulate who can talk to and what they look at and what they're doing. There was a very interesting thing. Who was it? It was LeBron. They asked LeBron after the game recently what his advice is for his teammates and how to be prepared and locked in the series. And he said, do not go on social media and look at your name. Do not do this. Do not do that. If you watch any of the other games, watch them with the sound off so you can't hear the announcers and listen to music while you're watching it. And the same thing for us. Like, we need to be more aware of how the things we read from wherever we're at, whether we're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, news sites. You could be on Yahoo News, you could be on CNN, you could be on Fox News, God forbid, and realize the reactions that it gives you, the way it feeds you information. Once again, it's important to be on top of things and to be in the know in the news, but you don't have to get it sensationalized, delivered to you, because it can really shape how you feel about it and make you more angry. You should maybe do print, the way people used to do it with newspapers, where you just read it and you can have your own opinion and read it in your own voice instead of hearing the voice and the inflection from the announcer on the TV that makes you feel like more agitated. Like, they'll even write the copy in certain ways to make you feel more unsettled, because that unsettled and that agitation hooks you and makes you have to come back more and more. They realize that. That's a model. It's a very disgusting way to get viewership, and clickbait and different things is emotional response. So we have to watch how we react to every single thing where we get our information. And if something's giving you a lot of anger and you're getting triggered, stop going to that news site. There's other ways you can get the information without having to get it delivered to you in a sensationalized way that brings emotion out of you. I mean, that's more and more like this. And that's part of why these people are so crazy. Like, a little boy goes to the door, then knocks on the door because he thinks he's going to meet his cousin to get them to come home. He went to the wrong door, and a scared old white man has a gun. He shoots through the door and shoots that kid. Thankfully, he survived, but he's shot in the head. That is pure fear that he could have been sitting in his house watching Fox News all day telling him they're coming, they're coming. You got to be ready, they're coming. That's what they're trying to do. And that's why everybody needs to kind of have a grasp on their own reality and where they're living and what's going on around them, and not like paint this whole nightmare situation, where people are coming to get you. Oh, you're in danger and stuff like that. They want you to be like that because you're agitated, you're controlled when you're in fear. So anything that's making you feel fear, just cut it out. Like, don't read it anymore. I know that Yahoo, their web page, if you read all the news on there, is awful, it's trashy, and some of it is put there just to get a rise out of you. So don't use Yahoo's page to go look at news anymore. CP24, you could read the news on the CP24, but at times there may be some of it makes you really upset. So you just got to really be smart about how you ingest your information and news that you get, because some of it is tailor made to get you hooked on anger and keep coming back for more. Yeah, it definitely, you gotta really watch yourself. And some people just have to be in touch with themselves and understand how outside forces may affect their emotions and make them like get more edgy and angry and upset, and just avoid that kind of stuff. Great comment though. Yeah. Mike is saying, I think we could simply simplify Simmons' role to a point of attack defender specialist, like a bench guy or a matchup usable. Get him on corner threes, and he could be a decent bench six man. Does he hit threes? Has he ever shot threes? This seems like a tall order. First of all, you got to wonder if he's going to show up. Second of all, you got to wonder if he's going to buy in. And third of all, you're going to wonder if he's going to actually there's too many wondering about this. He's just too Monique is with me. Ben Simmons is a no for her. I'm with Monique. Once again, Monique and I are we're mostly on the same page most of the time. Nameless saying, morning, my people. I was at the hospital getting a cast put on my broken hand, so I'll have to catch up later. Bam. Nameless, I don't like to hear that. I hope you're okay. I hope you heal quickly. And I'm glad to hear nothing more serious. If you just broke your hand, it could be a lot worse. And hopefully you'll just heal up quickly and quick, all kinds of stuff. Good to see you here this morning. Wayne saying, can't do the trade talk verbiage. Our team we really like, and looking at the roster and games, we were 2-3, made shots to being a force right now. Fix that Raptor streak, and we're on track to a title. Yeah, I think we're not that far off. I really do think that we're just a little bit slightly off one little bit last year. And then if we just got it just about right, it clicked, and then boom, we would have been going good, just like the year before. So I don't feel like it's like too much that we need to do to change. We do need to make some changes, and it'd be great if we got a high level superstar to come in with most of the guys that we have right now. That would really be a needle pusher. That's what we want. It's like, in some ways, we want a needle pusher this summer. Something that's going to make it like, oh, the talent on the Raptors just went, and everybody's going to take notice. You bring back Kawhi Leonard, people will take notice. They're like, oh shit, Leonard's back in Toronto. Needle pusher. That's what I'm talking about. We get a little needle pusher, things can change real quick. Mike's saying, I'm just trying to understand why Masai has been interested in him. I think Masai thinks he's fixable to at least a role player, in my opinion. Where have you heard he's interested in him? I've never heard anything about Masai being interested in Ben Simmons. I don't know where you got that. Elaborate, Mike, because I've never, ever heard him talk about Ben Simmons. Usually he doesn't talk about other players on other teams openly. I've never heard him talk about Ben Simmons or wanting him. I don't know where this came from, guys. I really don't. All right, let me go over stuff. All right, so we found out that Adrian Griffin has privatized his Instagram account. That's too bad. That makes sense, though, in some ways, because he's in flux and we don't know where he's going to land with what's going on. In some ways, maybe he really did want to be the coach of the Raptors. We'll see what happens. My top 5 candidates for the Raptors head coaching job at this point are Becky Hammond, Jerry Stackhouse, Mike Budenholzer, Adrian Griffin, and Sergio Scarioli. Let's see. The games last night, very entertaining. The Suns winning a very close game with the Nuggets behind a 50 points for Jokic on the other side. Meanwhile, 36 for Kevin and Devin. Devin actually is having one of the greatest playoff performances in the history of the NBA so far this year. He has so many 40-point games and so many good games, and like shooting at such a great percentage. Devin Booker on the down low is not getting enough credit and shine for what he's doing these playoffs. Seriously, there's no games tonight, so I'm not doing a ref report. But if you want to laugh, go to the NBA referees official account on Twitter and just check out all the tweets from yesterday. Really, really funny stuff about dumb stuff going on. Is there a game tonight, actually? Wait, they said there wasn't a game. There is a game tonight? Oh, there are games tonight. They didn't put up the refs in time before I got on the air. They're just a little slow. All right, let me do this real quick on the fly. There are games tonight. I thought that there were no games tonight. Okay, so New York and Miami are playing tonight. Zach Zarba is the crew chief. Courtney Kirkland and Ben Taylor are the backup refs. I'm gonna guess. I'm maybe shouldn't do this while I'm on the air because it takes me a little bit of time to look it up and find it exactly. I'm gonna guess Zach Zarba is for Miami. I'm pretty sure he is. I've checked him before for Miami and New York because I think he's been there. Yeah, he's Miami Heat is his second favorite team out of all the teams that he's repped, and the New York Knicks are one of the worst teams. It's like this: 59% winning percentage for Miami Heat from Zach Zarba, and for the Knicks 40%. 40%. So 59-40 the split. Zach Zarba for the Miami Heat. Courtney Kirkland in this same situation, Miami and New York. Let's see what his split is. Oh, man, I didn't think there were any games because I came on and I saw, okay, there's no games listed, but they just were late. They put it up after I checked. All right, let's see. His split is 52% for Miami. And the Knicks, he's got near the bottom 39. 52-39, the split for Miami for Courtney Kirkland. So 2 refs for Miami so far. Ben Taylor, Miami, New York. Let's see what he says. Ben Taylor. So 2 refs for Miami so far. Ben Taylor, his favoritism. Ben Taylor's favorite team in the whole entire league is the Miami Heat. They win 71% of their games. Meanwhile, the New York Knicks are one of the bottom 5 teams in the league when he refs, 42%. So 71 to 42% for Miami Heat also. So all 3 refs very heavily favor the Miami Heat at home in game 4 against the New York Knicks. So there you go. Golden State and the Lakers. Scott Foster is the crew chief. Kevin Scott is the referee, and Curtis Blair is the 3rd ref. Scott Foster with the Lakers and the Warriors. Let's see what Scott Foster's record. I'm pretty sure he's Lakers. He's been Lakers. I think he's done a Lakers Warriors game already, and he was Lakers. Let me see. Lakers 54%. Golden State Warriors 49. So 54-49 is the split for the Lakers with Scott Foster. Kevin Scott, he's the Tennessee referee. Kevin Scott, it will be, let me see, just getting the numbers and looking at it. He loves the Warriors. His favorite team is the Warriors. He's actually 72% winning percentage for the Warriors, and the Lakers 44. So there's a flip. Scott Foster's favoring the Lakers. Meanwhile, Kevin Scott favors the Warriors very much. 72-44 for the Warriors with Kevin Scott. Curtis Blair, last ref. Let's see what he's saying. Curtis Blair favors the Lakers. He has them 59% winning, and the Warriors are 55%. So 59-55, the split for the Lakers for Curtis Blair. So in summary, all 3 refs are favor Miami today against the Knicks. And then Scott Foster and Curtis Blair favor the Lakers, and Kevin Scott favors the Golden State Warriors. So there's your ref check for tonight. I'm glad I checked that and went back and looked. I thought there weren't any games tonight. That's really weird. Let's see. Infamous is saying we should be looking at any assistant coach from the Miami Heat. I like what they do there with limited talent, and I like their culture. Well, that's Chris Quinn, the number 2, and the Heat Nation's really protective of him. They're like, no, you can't have our little Spo. They want to keep him because they really see how beneficial he is to the Miami Heat coaching staff. But it would be Chris Quinn. He is the second in line behind Spoelstra. He's the most like Spoelstra. He would be like mini Spoelstra. So I'm not interested in him in some ways. I'd much rather have a disciple of Popovich than Spoelstra in some ways. But I can see what you're saying. That's not a bad coaching tree, the Spoelstra tree. For sure. Cool Cat saying to get a superstar, we would have to lose Pascal, Fred at minimum to make the money work. It depends. It depends. Who knows how they could do it or make it work. But in some ways, this summer seems like this would be the summer we do something like this. It just feels so 2018 right now. It really does. Mike saying there's been times where Masai has discussed deals to acquire Simmons. The price is too much, though. The Nets wanted the OG center package for Simmons last year, but there's been enough smoke for me, in my opinion. Yeah, fuck that. If we had traded OG for Ben Simmons last season and we saw what Ben Simmons did this year, yeah, you'd be pissed off. They would want to fire Masai. That's the kind of stuff that will get the front office fired. You're trading OG for Ben Simmons. That's a horrible deal. No, dog. Seriously, let's just pass on him. He's not a person we need to be involved in at all in his career. You can ask Philadelphia how he let them down. You can ask Brooklyn how he's letting them down right now. And that's why he's on the move probably this summer. Mike's saying, I could be off. It's just my opinion and rumors at this point. I think it was last year. It wasn't even that Masai was talking about him. It's just that we were hearing so many rumors about deals with the Nets and us that it was kind of like Kevin's name was in there. And then they were like, well, if you don't want Kevin, how about Ben Simmons? It's like the Nets people were trying to put Ben Simmons on us. I don't even know if Masai was looking at him or brought him up or talking about him himself. I heard about Ben Simmons' name more from Nets Nation because they may have been trying to get rid of him and send him to us in exchange for like Scotty or something dumb like that. Monique saying, W stream all around. Lex, keep at it. Good times. All right. I appreciate it, Monique. Very much. Thank you. Just checking on the poll from yesterday. Do you feel like Coach Bud was fairly fired by the Milwaukee Bucks? And we have 46 votes, and 57% of y'all are saying no, he was not fairly fired. And I think I agree with that. And meanwhile, we're still slightly against Dylan Brooks coming to Toronto in our polls. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. Please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate y'all's patronage. Tomorrow, Classic Jurassic Raptor Freak Trivia. You know what that means, Classic Jurassic. That's right. We'll be playing tomorrow. I won't tell you who it is, but tomorrow we will be doing Classic Jurassic Raptor Freak Trivia, 9:30 a.m. So come and get the points. And a reminder that we're playing reverse trivia also. If you want to get quick points real quick on the trivia, you can get 100 points if you stump me with a general Raptors trivia question. So figure out some questions for me tomorrow as I write questions for you today. And you see if you can get some extra points by stumping me with some questions coming back at me. Reverse trivia starts tomorrow, along with a regular Classic Jurassic trivia also. So there you go. Cool Cat saying, I don't have an issue losing our top 3 players to get us a chip moving forward. Nothing is permanent. See, and that means a lot coming from Cool Cat because she is very much loves Pascal. But this is what it is. It's like she wants this team to win, and she's got the same mentality of Masai. In some ways, we got to be cutthroat. We cannot have sentimentality if we want to make the next leap, and that says a lot because Cool Cat has been such a huge stand for Pascal all year. That she's saying stuff like this. She wants this team to win championships. She's a real one. And I get it. It's not that she doesn't like Pascal, and we'd like to keep him if we can, but it's exactly right that. Yeah. All right, Cool Cat. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, I'm going to try and make these shorter as I can. In fact, I didn't expect to go over an hour today. I was like, I don't have a lot of content. How am I was worried I wouldn't even make a half hour today, but we made it happen. W Stream. Thanks, Mike. As always, I appreciate everybody. Check out Logical Raptors Fanatics YouTube channel. It's fantastic. And hit subscribe for both our channels. I appreciate every one of y'all. I'll be back tomorrow. And let's go Raptors. Yeah, go Pascal, Red Bull, and F1. Your life is awesome. We love you, Siakam. And we want to see you succeed and kick so much ass. Let's go Raptors.